Welcome to the Out Loud English podcast. I'm Jake.
And I'm Mia. We're so happy you're here with us today.
We really are. Today we've got a great topic. It's something everyone does in their native language, but it can feel a little scary in a new language.
That's so true. We are talking about how to tell a simple story in English.
Exactly. And when we say story, we don't mean a big dramatic novel.
No, not at all. We mean the small stories we tell every day, like what you did yesterday or something funny that happened at the supermarket.
Right. Or talking about your weekend or a small problem you had, like losing your keys. These little stories are how we connect with people.
They really are. And the good news is you don't need perfect English or a huge vocabulary to tell a good story. You just need a little bit of structure.
That's the key word, structure. A simple story with a clear order is so much better than a long, confusing one. Our goal today is to help you feel confident telling your own short stories.
Yes, so you can share a little piece of your life with someone else. It's going to be fun, and we promise it's easier than you think.
So, Mia, let's talk about why telling a story in English can feel, well, hard.
Oh, I think we've all been there. Your friend asks, "How was your weekend?" And suddenly your mind goes blank.
Totally blank. Or you start talking and then you get stuck. I hear a lot of learners say things like, I don't know where to start.
Right, or I forget the right words in the middle of my sentence. That's a really common one.
It is. Another big worry is that the story becomes confusing. The listener doesn't understand the order of what happened.
And that can make you feel a little embarrassed. And then you just stop talking.
Exactly. You lose your confidence. You worry about using the wrong tense. You get tangled up, and you just want to finish as quickly as possible.
Yes. If any of that sounds familiar to our listeners, please know you are not alone. It's a very normal part of learning.
Absolutely. But we have a secret for you. A simple, powerful secret.
Ooh, I like secrets. What is it?
A good, simple story only needs 3 parts. That's it. Just 3.
3 parts? Okay, I can handle that.
A beginning, a middle, and an end. That's the foundation for every great story, big or small.
Beginning, middle, and end. It sounds simple because it is simple, and that's what makes it so powerful.
Okay, so let's break down that formula. Beginning, middle, and end.
Let's do it. So the beginning is pretty simple. It just answers the question, what happened, or where did the story start?
Right, it sets the scene. Then you have the middle. The middle answers, what happened next?
This is where you have 1 or 2 more actions or events. Not 10 events, just 1 or 2.
Yes, keep it simple. And finally, you have the end. The end answers, how did it finish?
It gives a feeling of completion. The story is over. So, beginning, middle, end.
Now, to connect these 3 parts, we need some special words. We call them sequence words. They are like glue for your story.
I love that. Glue for your story. They hold it all together. And they are so simple. Words like
First,
then,
after that,
and finally.
let's put it all together in a tiny story. Ready?
Ready.
First, I went to the store. Then I bought some groceries. After that, I made dinner. Finally, I watched the movie.
See? So easy to follow. We know the order. First, then, after that, finally. These words are your best friends when telling a story. They guide the listener.
They really do. They make it almost impossible to get lost.
Okay, let's hear a real example. Jake, how was your weekend? Tell us a simple story.
Okay, sure. It was pretty quiet, but I can tell you about Saturday.
Perfect.
So, last weekend, on Saturday, I wanted to just relax. First, I went to my favorite cafe in the morning.
Hmm, nice.
Then I ordered a coffee and a croissant and read my book for about an hour. It was really peaceful. After that, I met up with my friend, Paul. We walked around the park for a while. Finally, I went home in the evening and just made some pasta for dinner.
That sounds like a lovely, relaxing Saturday.
It was. And see, it's a simple story.
It is, and it's so clear. Let's look at why it works so well. The beginning was clear. You told us it was Saturday and you went to a cafe.
Right. The what happened.
Exactly. And the middle had two simple events. You read your book, and then you met your friend. You used then and after that to connect them.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending felt finished. You said, finally, I went home. We know the story of your Saturday is complete.
And those sequence words did all the work. First, then, after that, finally. They created a clear path, no confusion.
It's perfect. It shows you don't need a big adventure to have a story to tell. So, a great story needs a great start. Let's talk about some natural ways to begin a story.
Yes, you don't always have to say, let me tell you a story. That can sound a little formal.
Right. A simple way to start is just by saying the time it happened, like, so yesterday or last weekend.
I use the other day a lot. It's a casual way to say a few days ago.
That's a good one. If your story is funny, you can start with something funny happened. It makes the listener excited to hear more.
And if it's about a problem, you can say, I had a little problem yesterday. The word little makes it sound not too serious.
I like that. You can also be more direct and say, I want to tell you what happened. Or, for a more exciting story, you won't believe what happened.
That one really gets my attention. So many great options. And now it's time for you, our amazing listeners, to practice.
Yes, we want you to say these phrases out loud. We'll leave a little pause for you to speak. Ready?
So, yesterday,
Last weekend.
the other day,
Something funny happened.
I had a little problem yesterday.
Great job! It feels good to say them out loud, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so once you start your story, you need those glue words we talked about to connect the events.
Yes, we already know first, then, after that, and finally. But there are more you can use.
Right. For example, you can use later, it's similar to then. Like, I went shopping. Later, I cooked dinner.
Or a few minutes later, for something that happened very soon after. The phone rang. A few minutes later, the police arrived. Ooh, a dramatic story.
Very dramatic. You can also use phrases that mention location, like when I got there. For example, I went to the party. When I got there, no one was around.
Oh, that's another good story. Another one is while I was there. This is for an action that happens during another action. I was at the library. While I was there, I saw an old friend.
And for the end of the story, besides finally, you can also use in the end. It's a great way to signal the final result. We argued, but in the end, we agreed.
All of these words just make your story feel so much more organized. They help the listener relax because they know where they are in the story.
Exactly. Shall we practice them?
First, I went to the store.
Then I called my friend.
After that, we got coffee.
Later, we walked around.
Finally, I went home.
Excellent. You're building a full story already.
Okay, I think it's time for another example story. This time, let's do a story about a small, everyday problem.
Good idea. These happen to all of us.
Okay, I'll tell one. So, the other day, I had a little problem. I was leaving my apartment to meet a friend for lunch, and I was in a big hurry.
Uh-oh, I know that feeling.
Right? So first, I grabbed my coat and my keys and I ran out the door. Then I walked all the way to the bus stop. After that, when the bus arrived, I reached into my bag for my wallet and it wasn't there.
Oh no.
I had left it on my kitchen table, so I had to walk all the way back home to get it. Finally, I got my wallet, caught the next bus, and was only 15 minutes late. Luckily, my friend was not angry.
That's a classic small problem story. It's so relatable, and you told it so clearly.
Thanks. You can see the structure. I started with the other day to set the time.
Yep, and you used first, then, and after that to show the sequence of events. And you used finally for the result. You were late, but it was okay.
And I added that little word, luckily, which shows how I felt about the ending. This brings us to our next point, adding feelings.
Ah, yes. Feelings are what make a story interesting. A story is not just a list of facts. It's about a human experience.
Exactly, and you don't need complicated words. You can just say how you felt, like, I was nervous, or I was excited.
Or, I was so tired. Or, for the wallet story, I felt embarrassed. Or, I felt relieved when my friend wasn't angry.
You can also describe the situation. You can say, it was funny, or it was stressful.
Right. Or, it was a little awkward. I like using a little to make the feeling softer.
Me too. Or, it was actually really nice. Adding these simple feeling words connects you with the listener. They understand your experience better.
Totally. Let's practice a few of these. Listeners, get ready to speak. I was a little nervous.
It was actually really funny.
I felt embarrassed.
I was relieved.
It was stressful, but it was okay.
Fantastic! You're sounding more and more natural.
Okay, time for our third story example. Let's do a funny one, and we'll include some feeling words.
Okay, I love funny stories.
All right, so something funny happened to me last week. I was walking down the street and I saw a woman ahead of me. I thought she was my old neighbor, Sarah.
Okay.
So first, I started waving my arms really big and shouting, "Sarah! Hey, Sarah!" Then she turned around and it wasn't Sarah at all. It was a complete stranger.
Oh no, the worst.
It was so awkward. After that, I realized she was actually waving to someone behind me. I felt so embarrassed. Finally, I just pretended to be stretching my arms and quickly walked away.
The pretend stretch, a classic move. That's a great little story.
It shows how even a small, embarrassing moment can be a fun story to share. I used the sequence words and I told you how I felt. It was so awkward and I felt so embarrassed.
Perfect. Now, you also did something really important in that story. You gave it a clear ending. You told us what you did last. That's our next topic, how to end a story naturally.
Yes, an ending is crucial. It tells your listener the story is finished now. You can talk. And that brings up another great point, Mia. Beyond just telling what happened, we can make our stories a little more vivid, more colorful, without making them too complicated.
Without an ending, people might just wait, thinking there's more. It can be a bit awkward. Oh, I love this. You're talking about painting a picture with our words, right? Giving the listener a little more detail to imagine.
So, what are some good phrases? A really simple one is, "So yeah, that's what happened." It's very casual and friendly. Exactly, and the easiest way to do this is with simple adjectives. An adjective, for our listeners, is a word that describes a person, place, or thing. For example, instead of just saying, "I saw a dog," you could say, "I saw a big, friendly dog."
I use that one a lot. For a problem story, you can say, "In the end, everything was fine." It's reassuring.
Right, or for a travel story, "Finally, I made it home." You could also comment on the story like, "It was funny later, but not at the time."
That's a great one for embarrassing moments. A couple more are, "That was my little adventure," or "So, that was my weekend."
And if you want to be very clear, you can just say, "And that's the story."
Yes, let's get our listeners practicing these. A good ending makes you sound confident. Ready, everyone? Repeat after me. In the end, everything was fine.
So yeah, that's what happened.
That was my little adventure.
It was funny later, but not at the time.
And that's the story.
Wonderful! You've now practiced starts, middles, feelings, and ends. You have all the pieces.
Now, let's talk about a few common mistakes to avoid. We want to share these not to make you nervous, but to help you feel even more successful.
Exactly. This is friendly advice. So mistake number one is no order. This happens when you're nervous and just say words as you think of them.
Right. It might sound like this. I went home. I ate. Store. Friend. Yesterday. It's very confusing for the listener.
Instead, just use your sequence words. Yesterday, I went to the store. Then, I met my friend. After that, I went home. So much clearer.
Okay, mistake number 2. Too many details. The listener doesn't need to know the color of your shoes, the name of every street, and what you ate for breakfast 20 years ago.
Right. Just give the most important information. Beginning, middle, end. Keep it simple.
Mistake number 3 we already mentioned, no ending. The story just stops. Remember to use one of our ending phrases so people know it's finished.
Mistake number 4 is a big one. Only using "and then" over and over. I went to the store, and then I bought milk, and then I went home, and then I watched TV.
It gets a little boring to listen to. Instead, mix it up. Use first, then, after that, later, and finally. It makes your story sound much more dynamic.
And the final mistake, number 5, is being afraid of simple words. Many learners think they need to use big, impressive vocabulary to tell a good story.
But it's not true. Simple words are clear. Simple words are powerful. Using simple words confidently is much, much better than using big words incorrectly.
So true. Okay, I think it's time to put all of this together in one final story example. How about a travel story?
Love it. A travel story combines everything: place, order, maybe a small problem, and feelings.
Okay, I'll tell one. So last month, I took a day trip to a small town a few hours away. First, I took the train, which was really relaxing, but when I got there, I realized I had forgotten my map.
Whew, a little stressful.
It was. I was a little nervous. Then I tried to use my phone, but the battery was dead. So after that, I decided to just ask someone for help. I found a kind woman in a shop, and she gave me perfect directions to the town center.
Oh, I was relieved to hear that.
Me too. Finally, I found the main square, had a wonderful lunch, and enjoyed the rest of my day. In the end, everything was fine, and it was a great little adventure.
That's a perfect example. It has everything. A clear place, the small town, a clear order, train, no map, ask for help, enjoy the day.
Yep. A small problem, getting lost, a feeling, I was nervous, and a clear ending. It was a great little adventure.
See how all those pieces work together? It makes for such a satisfying story.
It does. And now it's the most important part of our podcast. It's time for you to practice. We are going to guide you to build your own story, step by step.
Yes, don't worry about perfect grammar. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. We'll give you a few seconds to speak after each prompt.
Ready? Okay. Step 1. Start your story. Begin with the phrase last weekend and finish the sentence. For example, last weekend I went to the park. Your turn.
First, I met my friend.
Okay, step 3. Add what happened next. Start with then I and tell us the next action. For example, then I drank coffee. Your turn.
It was relaxing.
Wonderful. And now, step 5. Finish the story. Start with finally I and tell us the last thing you did. For example, finally I went home. Your turn.
You did it! You just built a complete story. Beginning, middle, feeling, and end. Amazing work.
Now let's try one more practice together. We'll give you a full story with some blank spaces. We want you to fill in the blanks and say the whole story out loud.
Okay, here is the story template. I'll say it once, then we'll guide you through it. It goes, last weekend I went to, first I, then I, after that I, finally I, it was.
Last weekend, I went to...
First, I.
Good. Then I...
After that, I add one more option.
Almost done. Finally, I...
And describe it. It was.
You should be so proud of yourself. Seriously. Speaking a story in a new language is a huge accomplishment.
Absolutely. Okay, let's do a quick review of the most useful phrases from today.
For starting your story, remember so yesterday, last weekend, and the other day.
For connecting the events, your best friends are first, then, after that, and finally.
To add feelings, use simple phrases like I was nervous, it was funny, or I felt relieved.
And to end your story naturally, you can say, in the end, everything was fine, or so yeah, that's what happened, or and that's the story.
The most important message from today is that you can tell a good story with simple English. Don't be afraid. A clear, simple story is a perfect story.
It really is. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening and for practicing with us.
Your homework for this week is to tell one person just one simple story. It can be about your day or your weekend. Just try to use first, then, after that, and finally.
Yes, and if you feel brave, come find us online and leave a comment with your short story in English. We would absolutely love to read them.
That's a great idea. Until next time, keep practicing and keep speaking out loud. I'm Jake.
And I'm Mia. Bye for now.